Good afternoon. Welcome to the Washoe County District Board of Health meeting. And where is my agenda? Can we have a roll call and determination of quorum, Madam Clerk?
Chair Jung,
Present.
Dr. Novak,
Here.
Oscar Delgado, Dr. Hess,
Here.
Christopher Dare,
Here.
Michael Brown,
Here.
Tom Young.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Item number 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe there's some important people here from the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection. So, Mr. Lovato, if you would please lead us in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Lovato. Item number 3 is public comment, and I have one person signed in, Madam Clerk, and that is Mr. Michael Pitkin. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Pitkin. Yesterday, I went to the Washoe County Northern Nevada HIV Prevention Planning Group. Sexual Health Program Coordinator Jennifer Howell explained to me that Washoe County chose not to include HIV care in its prevention program. For me, I feel good HIV medical care is good HIV prevention. I ask Washoe County to reconsider and add HIV care continuum and service quality standards to its HIV prevention program. Not only would this address first do no harm of the Hippocratic Oath, but would also help address social determinants of health inequities. So please do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pitkin. And I'll let the board know that I am working with Mr. Pitkin on these and other issues. Anybody else wish to speak in public comment? If not, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board. Item 4 is approval of today's agenda, October 25th, 2018.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion by Novak, a second by Delgado. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Mr. District Health Officer, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Next, we have recognitions, and I would like to begin with years of service. And what we'll do is we'll run through the recognitions, and so everybody that's being recognized, please stay here, and then we'll have pictures with the board after that. So I'd like to start with congratulating Janet Smith for 25 years of service. If you could please stand, Ms. Smith. And 25 years of service. She was hired in October of 1993, and she's currently working in air quality management as administrative secretary. And I believe that Janet actually has been working with the health district longer than that, because I think you started as a temporary employee before you were even hired formally. So 15 years contractually. 15, so 40 years. Congratulations. Thank you very much for your service. And we also have Felisa Hilliard, but I don't see Felisa here today. Felisa has 15 years of service with the health district. She's been working in our accreditation program with Katrina Peters for the last couple of years. So congratulations to Felisa. We have a new hire that I'd like to recognize, and I'd like for Mr. Cutts to please introduce Sean Saladin to us. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but sure Steve will.
Solomon.
Solomon. Thank you.
Oh, okay, she's going to stay there. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Health. Steve Cutts for the record. So I'd like to introduce Sean Saladin. We're excited to introduce her as the newest member of our WIC team. Sean is a community health aide and provides nutrition assessment and information, in addition to many other resources to our WIC clients. She joins us with over 10 years of experience with WIC. She is passionate about improving the health and nutrition of not only the WIC community, but all of our Northern Nevada neighbors.
Welcome aboard, and we walked in together, so.
All right, next I have our Shining Star Award recipients to recognize. And as the board will recall, this is for excellent customer service, people that are nominated either by our customers from the community or by internal customers. And I'd like to begin with Jackie Scheides, and I don't see Jackie here right now, but Jackie is in our WIC program, and she, I believe now may have more than 10 Shining Star nominations,
Wow.
but she had 10 last week, and Lori Griffey, our HR rep, was processing another stack of Shining Stars that had been received on her desk. So you'll recall Carmen Mendoza was leading the entire county with 10 at our last meeting, so now we've got some great performers.
Great.
Maria Jimenez, I believe, is also working currently, and so she's. These three Shining Star nominations. I see Lisa Lotritz out there. So Lisa, if you could stand and be recognized, congratulations for your excellent customer service. Is Victoria here? Yeah, it's Victoria Nicholson Hornblower. Thank you, Victoria. And Julio Peck Garcia is working in the WIC clinic today, so he's not able to be here. David Kelly is also a recipient he's in our environmental health program, and I believe he's scuba diving in Mexico right now, so, yeah.
You want me to go check?
So congratulations, and thank you all for your service and your performance. So let's do pictures.
Oh. Did you start when you were 10? Yes. You've been here 40 years?
So we need, Jim, here's your, we need one of you on this side, the left side.
Okay. On three, please. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you, Jen. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And so, Sean?
You guys need to worry about it. You guys are not worried about it. How many years now?
That's why we're born in this.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Okay, we're gonna have you just backen up just a little bit, please. Thank you. Okay, yes, and a smile would help. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And we have Jackie Scheides has joined us with her. Can you have Jackie come up next?
Our Shining Star.
on three. 1, 2, 3, and one more. Jack is a good one. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations. Thank you for your excellent customer service. It means a lot to us.
Good.
Here's another shining star with excellent customer service.
Thank you.
You're yours.
Okay, on three. 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work. And little Lisa. Congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Okay, just a little bit tighter, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, on three. Lisa, 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you for all your hard work.
You're going to Atlanta, Sue, aren't you? Next week? Sunday.
They just never moved them.
Okay. No, he hand slides for
Oh. Here. Right here. Where did you go?
All right, Mr. District Health Officer, that takes us to item 6. And is there anything in item 6 that the board would like to pull out from consent? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Dare, second by Novak. Any public comment? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries unanimously. Now, Mr. District Health Officer, you can take it away from here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next on our agenda, we have a resolution of appreciation for David A. Rinaldi, and I will read the resolution. Mr. Rinaldi is not able to be here today, but he does have a statement, I believe, that Ms. Albee will provide for us once we do the resolution. So I will just read the resolution from here. A resolution of appreciation. Whereas the Washoe County Health District is charged with enacting and maintaining various sets of regulations pertaining to programs serving the citizens of the health district, and whereas the regulations governing the Air Pollution Control Hearing Board is a complex document which requires great expertise in its interpretation, intent, and objectives to implement the Clean Air Act in the health district, and whereas the Air Pollution Control Hearing Board has been established to hear matters relative to complying with these high standards and is composed of responsible community members meeting the requirements to serve on the board, which have volunteered to provide their invaluable assistance in matters of appeals, variances, and recommendations to the District Board of Health. And whereas David A. Rinaldi has faithfully served on the hearing board and rendered unwavering assistance in support of the standards expressed for air quality in the health district, therefore, the Washoe County District Board of Health wishes to convey, by the way of the resolution of appreciation, its thanks to David A. Rinaldi for his dedicated service as a member of the Air Pollution Control Hearing Board from October of 1991 to September of 2018. Set forth this 25th day of October 2018, signed by Kitty Jung, Chair of the Washoe County District Board of Health.
Thank you. Ms. Albee?
Hi, for the record, Charlene Albee, Director of Air Quality Management Division. Mr. Rinaldi did send me an email with his official resignation, and he did have a message to share with you. He says, I want to tell you how much I have enjoyed serving on the board. It is a service that I am proud of and want to express my appreciation to the Washoe County District Board of Health for allowing me to serve and for the confidence the board has had in me. I have seen the county grow and the growth in the need for Air Pollution Control Division to protect our natural resources. I am around to have, I'm reading a few little typos. It says, I am proud to have worked with all of the current and past dedicated professionals of the Air Pollution Control Division. I resign with a heavy heart because I will miss working with all of these folks and serving the county. I resign not because of just retirement, because I have moved away from Washoe County to follow our children. Otherwise, I would still have been a part of the board.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Rinaldi. And you will give him his...
Yes, we also have a beautiful plaque that we'll be sending to Mr. Rinaldi. Washoe County Health District recognizes David Rinaldi for 27 years of service on the Air Pollution Control Hearing Board, October 1st, 1991 to September 27th, 2018. So.
It's wonderful. Thank you. All right, Miss Albee, don't go anywhere.
We need to vote.
Oh, we do need to vote on this. So I would entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Novak, second by Hess. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Ms. Albee, I'm opening up the public hearing for item number 8. If you would please introduce it.
Again, for the record, Charlene Albee, Air Quality Management Division Director. The proposed regulations in front of you today are being proposed to establish a general Title V permitting program, specifically at this point to allow for the operation of an air curtain incinerator by the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District. The air curtain incinerator is actually considered a great tool for the protection of the community as far as fire safety. This is going to allow for the collection of green waste to be burned in a controlled environment rather than have it in the open burning by the public. The General Title V program was provided for in the federal Title V regs so that we can have one permit that goes through the entire public process. It has been reviewed by EPA. They have submitted comments. We have included it into the permit that will be issued. The adoption of the regs now sets that up for any other industry-specific general permit that may be required so that in the future we can actually be more responsive for industry when they come in. It also sets up, it addresses the definitions, have now been cleaned up. The program itself has been aligned to reflect the federal requirements. And then we've also established a new permit fee, the application fee. The regular Title V permit fee is about $35,000. This one will be under $3,000, which provides a pretty significant benefit to the industry. This process was started for the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District, but now that it's with your approval going to be established, any other land manager or private contractor that wants to apply for one of these will be able to take advantage of the program also. So
That's
with
great.
that,
Thank you very much for the hard work on this. I know
available for any.
you had to go a lot back and forth with the EPA and
Staff really put in about 11 months worth of really hard work with a big working group to make sure that we were able to accommodate and comply with all the federal regulations.
great. Any questions, board? I would entertain a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt the revisions.
Second.
I have a motion by Brown and a second by Young. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, and thank you to your staff. Item number 10, Regional Emergency Medical Services Authority, and we have the, oh, sorry, I skipped you guys from the state. Forgive me. And he was going to come right on up, too. Item number 9 is really something that we should be very proud of. And I'll let the district health officer present this and then give you some background. But this is this was a major stumbling block that we had as a region. And we, with the help of the state, we are in much better streamlined position with all the growth that we're anticipating right now. So go ahead, District Health Officer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item is for approval of an interlocal cooperative agreement between the Nevada Division Division of Environmental Protection, the Washoe County District Board of Health, and Truckee Meadows Water Authority. And this work has been going on for a number of months. I've been reporting to the board on the negotiations that we were doing to establish an alternative oversight mechanism for TUMWA for water projects that are submitted to them for review and then need to come to the health district for review and approval once they've been approved by TUMWA. And by working together and looking at an alternative approach, we've developed this interlocal agreement that will provide for TUMWA to have the authority to approve water projects that are submitted to them. And then the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection and the Health District will provide oversight through an audit process on a quarterly basis to review 15% of the water projects that have been submitted and approved by TUMWA during the quarter. Now, the agreement says that we will review no more than that 15%, but it also provides us with a mechanism to reduce that level of oversight from quarterly to an annual review and reduce that percentage that we're reviewing based on how that audit process is going and what we think is appropriate to do for that oversight. The Health District does retain the review of the infrastructure projects that TUMWA has that they're designing themselves and putting together to build their infrastructure capacity as is outlined in the interlocal agreement. We do have, as we've acknowledged, Greg Lovato from NDP here today. We also have Danny Rotter, engineering manager for TUMWA as well. If anybody has any questions for them, for me, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does the board have it? Yes, Councilman Dare.
I get the honor of serving on TUMWA and this board, and so I get to have a schizophrenic conversation with myself often on this whole thing. I just want to thank Health Officer Kevin Dick and Chad Westham and you gentlemen. And I think for our region, it is awesome when people will continue to come back to the table to find good answers. I do believe this is a good answer. It still leaves the health board in the place it should be in auditing and making sure at large we are watching what's happening as a region and at the same time giving the ability to move forward. So I just want to thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm very pleased. And I think as a region, I know as Sparks, and I think I'm hearing it from all of our entities. We're pretty pleased that where we're at. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I think it's a big move forward, and I'm appreciating seeing it go forth.
Yes, especially as a business owner, you know exactly. The more we can streamline, the better off it is for you, correct?
Right.
Good. He's our restaurateur expert, so he deals with a lot of red tape. I would entertain a motion if there's no other comments.
Can I?
So moved. So
I'll
approve it.
second.
Okay, I have a motion by Novak and a second by Dare. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. We're going to take a real brief break. I'm going to sign it, and then Mr. Lovato, if you could come up here and sign it as well, that would be great. Yes, the Deputy Attorney General. Do you have a pen? Here you go.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yes,
This is a
and
big
thank you
effort.
for being here.
Yeah, I think we just had a commitment to keep talking and work through it, and it's gonna keep it successful too, so.
Yeah.
As long as we have that, we'll be in good shape.
wading through a lot of conversation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, things have changed, and I think this reflects that.
All good. Right, Oscar?
So is it okay if I keep one to bring it back to them?
I think that's, how many do we have? We've got three?
We have two.
We have two. We can take a copy later.
Okay.
Thank you
And
very much.
Also, I'd like to acknowledge Mylin is in the audience as well from NDP, the water program.
Thank you, Mylin, for being here as well. Appreciate you. And sir from Tumwa, appreciate you too. This is a banner day for Washoe County. Those of you that are elected officials know, because we fielded lots of calls about some discrepancies, and now we've came up with a solution. So good job to everybody all the way around. I think it deserves a round of applause. Okay. Now we can move to item 10 for the Regional Emergency Medical Services Authority, and we do have the Executive Director here today himself, Dean Dow. This is item A, is the review and acceptance of the operations report for September. Anybody have any questions or comments? Anything you want to add, Mr. Dow?
For the record, Dean Dow, President and CEO of REMSA and CareFlight. You have the September compliance report, and happy to answer any questions that I may be able to do.
Okay, could you pull your microphone up a little bit? You're tall. There you go. Thank you. Any questions for the ops report?
Move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion by Brown, second by Novak. Any public comment? Thank you, Madam Clerk. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Item 10B is an update on the public relations for REMSA during September of 2018.
Madam Chair and the Board, if I will, it's a pleasure to highlight a few things that have occurred with our organization in the month of October. As all of you are aware, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, is also it's Safe Sleep Awareness Month. So throughout October, our administrative and field provider staff have been approved to wear pink t-shirts to raise awareness about breast cancer. Also, myself and my wife challenged the organization that we would donate $5 to that cause for each employee that went out and purchased a pink t-shirt. I'm pleased to say that we're supporting that with a check of $500 for our employees' efforts at REMSA for that. Additionally, Francisco Sabelos, our REMSA Community Programs Coordinator, has participated in 2 media interviews this month to raise awareness about sleep-safe conditions for infants. Parents and caregivers were reminded of the ABCs of safe sleep. So A means for them to sleep alone, and no blankets, no stuffed animals. B stands for placing the infant on their back, not their stomach, and then C stands for the crib. They need to have their own space. Those are up on our website if anybody would choose to click on and look at those. We also, in the month, our education department put on a zombie apocalypse bleeding control class. So this was a safe and I think entertaining effort for participants, both our own folks, outside organizations, the public, to participate and learning how to apply tourniquets, the reasons behind that medically, and also how to pack a wound, stop bleeding in chaotic, low light, scary, noisy, but safe environments. And that effort, we were able to train 42 people through that training. Finally, for the last 2 things for me, on our website, we do have a Halloween safety video that we've produced with holiday safety tips. And then also on Halloween, our providers that are working that evening will be out with safe candy and stickers for Halloween. And then just on a personal note, for all of you in the community, this board, other politicians, electeds, et cetera, I just personally would like to thank the community effort on the work that's been done for the NAMS campus and women and children that are homeless. It's just outstanding what the community's been able to come together and do in that effort. Then last but not least for me, I don't know if it's proper to do this or not, but I have some documents for the district health officer that, since I'm not gonna see you tomorrow at our board meeting, I'm gonna give to you now, if I can.
You can hand them to the clerk.
Okay. All right.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Dow?
I do have one.
Councilman Dare?
We talked a little bit, and I just want an update on the flu shots. Yeah.
Flu shots, we did participate with the county. We went to one of the elementary schools and participated in providing public flu shots. Our organization did, and Kevin, I don't remember which, off the top of my head, I don't remember which elementary school it was. Thank you.
O'Brien Middle School?
O'Brien Middle School. And we also have made it vaccines and shots available for all of our employees and their family members. And then we were in a conversation about doing an effort to provide shots for homebound people. And as I currently understand it, no vaccine is available is the way I've heard it last. So I think that discussion is a little bit on hold. You may. Would I say no?
Ms. Conti?
This will be fun.
Christina Conti for the record. What Mr. Dow was talking about was a partnership between Washoe County Health District and REMSA. And through the research that we've done, we're not able to utilize our vaccines for that program at this time. So it's something that we really want to look at for next year, that we can write it into the grant to be able to do that. But because it was a brilliant idea, but it came too late in the process. Did you like that? That we just need to really work through some of the things and try for next year, because we'd like to support that. Also, Mr. Steven Shipman is going to be working with the partners. I think the idea came from Reno, actually, and Dennis Nolan, and to do a concerted effort next year, all the jurisdictions doing it at the same time under one exercise umbrella, if you will, and hit homebound and hit public. And so we're starting those talks right now in anticipation of next year.
That's great. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Dow? Thank you, Mr. Dow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Connie.
Thank you, Ms. Conti. Item number 11 is Regional Emergency Medical Services Advisory Board October meeting summary, and our staff is Christina Conti.
Hi, good afternoon. Christina Conti for the record. The materials are placed in front of you. As you can see, we had a huge agenda this past meeting. We missed our July meeting due to quorum issues. Just as a note for you, in the future, we've actually moved our meetings starting next year because we run into quorum issues in January and July, so we pushed it back a month. So you won't have an update from us in January, you'll have an update in February. Obviously, I'm available to answer questions on anything in here. I also asked Ms. Heather Kerwin to come down because last time you had questions on the trauma data report, and I fielded them, but it's better for her to be here, so she's available also. A couple things to bring your attention to. I know that Chief Cochran is here and he may be able to answer any questions that come up, but the CAD to CAD interface project that I know you guys have been really interested in has hit a pause point when they had I wrote down just about verbatim what Ms. Kimji had said in the advisory board so that you can see her details. But when they did the demo, it did not align with what they believed the project should be. And so they're back to the start of that. So you can see her bulleted items, and like I said, Chief Cochran's here. The annual trauma data report has been accepted and now published. Just a kudos reminder, we're the only county in Nevada that does this still.
Wow.
The REMSA franchise map, want to make sure that you take an opportunity to look at that. The EMS Oversight Program is once again recommending that the map stay unchanged. It's holding, so it really speaks to the work that that group had done a couple years ago. And the last thing, Councilmember Delgado, this is probably of very much interest to you because of your council meeting. The low acuity priority 3 calls, that subcommittee has concluded its work with the exception of one thing, but there's a report that's written and attached in here that shows we have an estimated anticipated savings of about 3,500 calls for service from the way that they are receiving a response right now, and all of those things have implemented. So I know that Councilmember Jardon was wondering when they'd implement. Everything has now implemented. And so this report shows what those estimated savings are. So with that, I will be
Any
available.
questions from the board?
Just
Dr. Novak?
just a-
Vice Chairman Novak?
Just a comment. I think this idea of doing the omega-3s and limited calls, I think a nice documentation that this is proving to save what we were hoping to get around and free up some of our, personnel to make real calls. So I think this is a really good move, and I hope it continues, and maybe next year we can add 2 or 3 more codes to it. So thank you very much. That's a good one.
Dr. Hess?
Do you know when, is there a date? I know this is just from a few, well, I guess it was just the 25th. I was wondering where the CAD to CAD thing is, if you have any more information since this was written. No? Okay. No, I'm
Oh boy.
I don't know. Aren't you guys game?
Chief Cochran?
Good afternoon, Fire Chief Dave Cochran. I met with RISMA on this issue. As Christina mentioned, there was a significant glitch in the process. Set us back a ways. We're targeting after the first of the year, January 1, to get it up and running. That may be optimistic given our recent past experience, but that would be my estimate at this point.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Ms. Conti. This is a non-action item. Appreciate it. Good job on the trauma analysis, too.
4 years.
All right, next, I asked for this report because we heard from a resident about this, and I had never heard of this, but this is a presentation entitled IWasPoisoned.com. Mr. Chad Westham, please take it away. And he gave us a handout as well in your packet.
Good afternoon, Chad Westham, Division Director for Environmental Health. I'll give you a brief overview and help you understand this website and environmental health's involvement with it and how we make use of it and how it's of help. So the IWasPoisoned.com website, you can see there on the screen, very simple format. I actually was fortunate enough to listen to a presentation on this coincidentally at a conference recently. And it's accessible on a laptop, phone, iPhone, all devices. And you simply put in your concern, where did you eat, what the problem was, rating of the business, and then where you want the report sent to. The complainant can also check if they want their concern sent to the public health department or not. If they do, then we have been on board for the last year to start receiving those complaints. We receive about 5 a month currently, but there was a recent complaint where we got calls and IWasPoisoned.com all in the same issue. So we have an environmental health epi staff as well as our front clerical staff and our communicable disease program. They all receive the same messages when the complainant has a concern. And then we review that information for which restaurant it is, what the food is. We look at the validity. It also helps us if we happen to know that there's an outbreak going on in the area or maybe even nationwide that we can connect the data with. And so we also look for an email or phone number to where we can contact the complainant for more information because usually this is more of a heads up. It's not everything we need to know. We have a complaint for foodborne disease. This is a picture of the form that we use for all alleged foodborne illnesses, whether they call in, email in, or they use iwaspoisoned.com. This is the form we start filling out so that we can connect the different cases and work with other jurisdictions as well, such as, the state or or like over into Las Vegas or California. So we've been working with iwaspoisoned.com for over a year. It started out very small. Now we're getting half a dozen or so a month. So it's increasing. The pros of using it is that we do get complaints that we seemingly would not get otherwise through iwaspoisoned.com. People who wouldn't choose to call to pick up the phone, wouldn't email us or leave us a message. And it is a very user-friendly format, so that's helpful. Some of the cons include that once we get a complaint from iwaspoisoned.com and then we try to reach back to them, sometimes there's no phone number provided, or no email, or also sometimes there is a phone number, but just for some reason they're not as responsive in getting back to us. So we do what we can, but it's helpful that if we have an extra source of information, I feel that it's an option, it's a tool in our toolbox to where maybe there's something out there in the community that we haven't otherwise heard of, but we could potentially hear about it through iwaspoisoned.com. So it's part of our food safety and epidemiological responses. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Weston. Any questions down here? No? Over here? Mr. Young.
Yes. People who know me pretty well kind of know that I just love science. It's really cool and everything else too. And sometimes the public doesn't seem to often understand science as well as I think they should. Mm-hmm. And the cause and effect issues are quite difficult for, I think, much of the public to understand that. I mean, we actually had, occasionally a restaurant will get a complaint saying, my gosh, we got the last one Great Basin got which was investigated by the health department. Somebody said that my 1-year-old ate your mac and cheese and threw up right outside, too. And that's possibly nice if there's a toxin in that thing, but it's impossible really for bacteria or viruses to grow within a half an hour to cause illness. However, the public doesn't get it. They just think, my gosh, I ate this, I was sick, and I don't think they understand that people get sick, and there's all kinds of ways they can do that. Reports like this, the last outbreak, I think we had the legitimate restaurant outbreak in Washoe County resulted in a bankruptcy, so these are very serious to a restaurant to have these things. Most businesses have had disgruntled employees make false reports on lots of, we get to the fire marshal, the health department, OSHA, whatever, and things too. And this encourages and makes it really, really easy for somebody to do something that's quite serious consequences. And we certainly want to understand the true consequences of a foodborne illness and things too. But I think that if we hang up FDA does a nice, I brought a little picture of a chart here that FDA prints of various types of foodborne illnesses and that lists the incubation times and things like that. Really the only thing that can happen generally that cause effect that the public really understands are sometimes, staphylococcus, infections with some toxin related things that can act quickly. But I'm really excited that it's really easy to go click on your latest complaint and things like that too, but to throw things out there, guilty, before you're even investigated, I think is a dangerous position to take.
I agree, Mr. Young. I was just going to say that we take in all this information. We, to a degree, consider ourselves as a repository of information and feedback on the establishments, but it's not until there's 2 or more unrelated cases alleging the same thing or getting ill from the same restaurant, that we start actually investigating it as a foodborne outbreak.
Yeah. And I understand, but it gives also, let's say when your competitors decide to gang up in your restaurant, and they can just click on there almost somewhat anonymously and say that, and now it's on the public record that there's this many complaints against a certain restaurant. I mean, these things can happen. I think the health department has to take it very seriously, that these things are, the restaurants take it seriously, and then we also have to, be cognizant of we have to investigate the foodborne illnesses, but also watch out for other issues and things like that too. But I do think, the health department's always been doing a great job in these investigations, and I think that one has to decide, are we trying to collect, like a whole lot more, staff time to make it really, really easy in case someone might have been had a foodborne illness, instead of just getting sick, or else do we want to, make it, the easier we make it, the more calls you guys are gonna have to do too.
True. We appreciate the feedback.
That's why you're here. You're a restaurateur.
Okay.
We don't know these things. But I did think about using it as a weapon if it was a competitor, just like Yelp, right? Yelp, the worst meal I ever had in my life is always on a
Well, that
Yelp.
happens too.
Yeah, exactly. Councilman Dare.
What do we do with this information? Is it all internal? This is for you, or is this something to the public? Can they go in and say, oh, Christopher Dare, don't go to his restaurant because of what he just said? Or is this just internally for you, and so it stays in the health department?
Chad Weston for the record. So we take in the information. It goes to, we have environmental health specialists that specialize in epidemiology, and they work with Dr. Randall Todd's group, epidemiology, to investigate these things. And so whether it's our clerical or our staff, we take in this information, and it's a complaint, and we consider it informally an active investigation, so we don't release that to anyone. Additionally, anytime there's medical aspects mentioned and there's names involved, then it's protected by HIPAA. So it's not.
Gotcha.
It's, as far as like maybe a restaurant and complaints that have been filed, if it was, the information was protected and redacted, then it could be potentially shared, but not any of the personal information that's HIPAA protected.
Dr. Hess.
Question, the 2 pages that are in the stuff that you printed up for us don't have any phone numbers or names, and it seems to me that would be the first thing you'd want to collect if somebody's going to make a. Do they?
I agree. Chad Weston for the record. I agree with you. It is iwaspoisoned.com, their website, their development. They are in communication with health departments all across the country. We did
But
not
how do you
provide
get
any
the
input.
information about the victim or so-called victim?
How do we?
Yeah.
If it's shared through that information, then we can reach them. If it's not shared, then we can't.
Yeah.
That's one of the flaws or the
Well,
cons.
just looking at it, it seems like you can make a report without ever identifying yourself.
That's correct.
That's useless.
Yeah, it's weaponized.
Big flaw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he didn't design it. This is a national software that,
Is there some way to provide some feedback to them in that?
sure,
Yeah.
we'll get that for you, Dr. Hess. You should do it too, because you have doctor behind your name. Well, I think they'll listen to you saying, this is useless, this needs to be part of the reporting structure.
Yeah.
If we can get that to him,
Sure, we'd be happy to work with you on that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Weston.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 13 is the possible appointment of Dr. Reka Danko to the District Board of Health for a term beginning January 2019 and ending December 2022. Mr. District Health Officer, do you have anything to add to that?
Just to add that I wanted to thank Dr. Hess for helping with the recruitment of this position. and working with Dr. Kevin Murphy, so thank you to Dr. Murphy as well, through the Washoe County Medical Society and the Public Health Committee there. And so through their efforts, they spoke with Reka Danko, who also, Dr. Reka Danko, who also contacted me to talk about the position. And so we're recommending her appointment as the physician on the board to be effective in January of 2019 after Dr. Hess's term ends. I can tell you that Dr. Danko, last I spoke with her, she had a appointment on the morning of November 1st when we have our strategic planning retreat, but she was working to get that rescheduled to be able to join us at the retreat if she's appointed today. So we provided her bio and CV, and I've had the opportunity to meet and work with Dr. Danko a little bit during her time as Chief Medical Officer at Northern Nevada Hopes, and now she's a hospitalist at St. Mary's and working also with as professor with UNR Med School. But she's been very active in our opioid response group that came together after we had the problem with the pill mill going on in the community. So I think she's very, very engaged, and I would recommend her appointment.
Anything else to add? Any questions? Well, if you look at her CV, this is so impressive, and I echo what the district health officer says. I thank you, Dr. Hess, not only for your service here, but for making sure that you found applicable replacement. And remember, that's if any of you quit here, that's what you have to do. Because that's the only way we can find really good people, right? So any questions or comments, or I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Novak, a second by Hess. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Next is item 14. This is the review and approval of the district health officer's annual performance evaluation results. In your packet, you will see a list of our health officer's accomplishments for this annual look back, as well as a summary of his performance evaluation. And if you have any questions or comments, I think now is the time that we could do that. Anybody down here have any questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Vice Chairman Novak.
Looking through here, I was kind of disappointed that the board, all of us didn't fill out the evaluations. And that's just a personal thing. I think we're involved with Mr. Dick a lot, and I think that's the least we could do. And I know, I'm glad the majority of us did, but there's a few people I wished would have.
Okay, anybody else?
I'll make a comment.
Yeah, Councilman Dare.
I just want to say thank you, and you've done a good job. I appreciate, I've had the opportunity to watch you with your staff and how you approach conflict, how you approach things, and I appreciate it, and I thank you, and to many more.
Thank you.
Councilman Delgado.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and likewise, thank you. Mr. Dick, I worked closely with you over these last few months on a few different issues with respect to the Turkey Mills Healthy Community stuff, to community engagement, working with the city on the water issues and so forth. And you've always been very candid, forthcoming, but always coming with open mind of trying to find resolutions to the issues that we have. So I really, really appreciate that, and look forward to continue working with you and your staff. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I have to say this. Mr. Kevin Dick, I like to say I found him, but I certainly encouraged him heavily to come on board. We went through 3 district health officers in my short time that I've been on this board, and I led the charge to not be a physician for a district health officer because we have a physician on staff that we pay for, and we also have a physician that represents this board to look at it from that perspective. And this health district was desperately in need of an administrator, somebody who knew how to be a leader, break down barriers, figure out, I mean, we had some employees, some departments that hadn't been evaluated in 10 years for their performance, which you know, any of you know that own a business, that's difficult. And it's not fair to the employees either, frankly. So as long as he'll stay with us, I want to keep Mr. Kevin Dick, and I can't say enough. Leaps and bounds every year you do better than what I had expected or anticipated with the Community Health Improvement Plan and the work you've done in the communities that are the least served, and that we have to go out to those communities to help them, has really been a game changer for what a Board of Health does and how people really see us and the importance. Not to mention air quality and how important that is to have a great relationship with the feds when we are saying mea culpa because of the fire from California's, when we don't make our standards. You never want to be in that position. So, and community, I mean, clinical health and immunization. And I'm going to miss somebody now that I'm doing all this, you're right. Environmental health, Mr. Weston's been a great addition to our board. What did I say?
Fiscal.
Fiscal.
Our fiscal.
Our fiscal team is incredible. Anna took us from the bottom of the barrel to at least we can breathe as a board with our budget. The epidemiology team is terrific. I mean, we made national, international news for some of our work here with the dengue something or chicken something. You can say it when you get up here. So, and even the leadership with the Emergency Management Advisory Board and bringing the chiefs together and REMSA. So there's really no area that needs improvement. And and that is a reflection of you as well. He's only as good as you guys make him look, right? And as good as you guys perform your area of expertise. So I'll make the motion to approve this performance evaluation. He's at the top of his pay, so that's not an issue in the contract. He's already received his COLA like everybody else. So this is a formality and a saying, please stay with us. Okay?
Thank you.
That's my motion.
I second.
Okay. I'll give it, who, you guys want to arm wrestle? Motion by Jung, second by Brown. Any further discussion?
Anybody else want to say?
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. That was an excellent evaluation. And remember, it's not just us that evaluate him. It's his community partners and some other people that like to throw some slings and arrows too sometimes. And they love to beat up on him for anything that goes wrong in the development code. So that tells you what kind of expertise and professional we have working for us here. So I'm going to give you a round of applause.
If I could just make
Well
a
done.
comment. One, well, thank you for all the kind remarks. I appreciate that. And I want to recognize my appreciation for the support that I have from you board members. You have really helped me when I've had difficulties, and I appreciate that you have that confidence in me, are willing to work with me and to work to resolve issues. So thank you very much for that, and thank you, Chair Jung, for recognizing that I have an incredible staff here at the Health District that makes me look good. When I put together my accomplishments, I didn't claim they were mine. I put them forward as the Health District accomplishments, and so I appreciate what everybody has done so that I can take credit for a great health district. So thank everybody very much.
Thank you. All right, item 15 is staff reports and program updates. 15A is air quality management. Ms. Albee, do you have anything to add to your written report?
Nothing else to add, but I'm available if there's any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Albee?
Nice report.
She always does good. Item 15B is community and clinical health services. Mr. Cutts, come on up.
Good afternoon again, Chair and members of the Board of Health. Steve Cutts for the record. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have, but, and if you don't, I would like to introduce Stephanie Chen. She is one of our health educators in our chronic disease program. We've been fortunate enough to have Stephanie first as a intermittent hourly health educator. She's been permanent with us now for a little over a year. She's amazing. And she's been doing a lot of work with parks throughout Washoe County. So I wanted to give her an opportunity to show you a great video and talk about some of the projects that she has been working on.
Good afternoon, Stephanie Chen for the record. For the past year, the Chronic Disease Prevention Program has focused on parks to promote physical activity and consumption of nutritious foods. We have 2 new projects that have been completed, and I'm excited to share the things that we've done today. The first is a painting of activity spaces on the concrete floor at Yorrie Park. This was created by muralist Eric Burke, and we have this great video to show you.
Hey yo, Rob from JT, stop the beat. I'm going in. We going.
That's cool.
We going.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
I love the music choice too, and the kids are darling.
his name might sound familiar. We actually also worked with Eric during the mural project.
Yes,
by Glenn Duncan, correct?
Yes, by Glenn Duncan, remember, Councilman? Yes, we are very familiar with his work, and we are very lucky to have him in our community as well.
In addition to our work at Yorrie Park, we've also been fortunate to collaborate with Washoe County's GIS department and build this regional parks directory. It's the first of its kind for Truckee Meadows. And what's neat about it is that community members and visitors can explore and find a park by using this directory. So I'm going to take some time and just highlight some of the features that this directory can offer. So the park directory can be accessed by visiting parkfinder.washoecounty.us. The homepage will lead you to the Park Finder tab where all of the parks in our region are pinned to the map. Each tab has 3 different features to search for a park, including the filter, near me, and search by park name. Beginning with the filter, we have various amenities that individuals can access, and by clicking on them, the park will actually be updated so that whatever amenity is chosen, it will be reflected here. The next feature is a near me, which allows you to search for a park by location when inputting an address or setting a location on the map. So I'm actually going to provide an example by inputting our county address. And so what happens here, all parks within a 2-mile radius of that location will be pinned on this map, and you can click on the park and again, look at more information. It'll be highlighted to show you where it is in correspondence to that location. And most parks also do have pictures, which is neat.
That's cool.
The last feature of our Finder is searching by name. So if you know a park name but don't maybe know where the location's at, you can type it in. I'll type in Bartley Ranch here, and it will direct you to that location. So it's really useful for those who might want to visit a park but not know where things are at. We have some more tabs up here, and the sports tab and the pocket parks, they work the same way as a park finder. Sports focuses on sports amenities that are available. And so again, if individuals wanted to look for an amenity by sports, they can do that using the 3 features. I lost my mouse there. And then pocket parks, there's 3 simple filters. You might be wondering what a pocket park is, and they're small open spaces that are built for public leisure, and they're usually smaller than a neighborhood park, but again, we wanted to include that as an option for people to find places to enjoy the public use. Finally, we have this Trail Finder tab, and this is neat because it highlights trails and trailheads, and it also has information on use and length. And so for those interested in hiking, biking, horseback riding, they can use this Trail Finder tab to find more information on where to do that. That concludes a little demonstration, and I'm open to any questions if you have any.
That's terrific. Any questions?
Is this on our district website? Is that how we get to it?
Yes, so it is on the district website in multiple places, but then we also have a link that is hopefully memorable, so if individuals wanted to find it, they can access it that way.
What was the link?
It's parkfinder.washoucounty.us, and that can be
Okay.
inputted on any browser.
Councilman Delgado?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's not really a question, it's more of a comment because of just the work that the collaborations we're doing in the community of working and activating parks and seeing those spaces, not just as parks, but as a good place to be for families and the retaking of some parks that have not really been utilized as much. And especially the work at Yorrie Park, the city on November 2nd is doing a movie night. I don't know if we're involved with that or not, but at Yorrie Park, November 2nd, 6 p.m., they're going to be watching Coco at the park. And so it's really to testament to the overall work of the community saying, we're going to utilize this park a little bit more, and then working with other community partners to say, let's do more, and let's be out there more than just kind of driving by there or walking past it, not feeling as safe or as welcoming. So good job to you and to the staff and to the health district. But if you guys are free, November 2nd, 6 p.m., Yorrie Park, they're watching Coco outside.
Awesome. That's a great idea. And I would assume you're working with Truckee Meadows Parks Foundation as well, or you've given them this information?
Correct, and we communicated with all jurisdictions,
Of course, okay.
and they're
Okay.
aware.
I should have
and were
known.
very helpful in providing insight and data to help us build this directory.
Terrific. And then I'm just wondering where this could be inserted for new people moving in. We are having quite an influx of new people. They're the ones that need this the most. Because they'll be the new ones too, saying, we need more parks, we need more open spaces, not knowing how many parks and open space are right here and all the trails. So that would be my request, is to figure out either through the realtors or, I don't know, there has to be a hub or a headquarters where that website could be shared.
Absolutely, we will look into that and hopefully find a good place for newcomers. in our
Great.
town. Thank you.
Okay, hang on a second. Dr. Novak?
Commissioner, is this something that we can put into the park summary that comes out twice a year?
Well, I think without question, it's something we can put in there. Kind of one of my questions, if you're working with the jurisdictions and we're aware of this, I just even think this would be something I'd like to see on our webpage, that it's a place where on our city webpage. So I'll bring that up. I did have one question also on top of that. So we have a lot of new parks coming in. Are you having easy access to that? Do you need help making sure you know where they're at, or is that already taken care of?
I think we have great communication with all of the directors at the various jurisdictions, so as long as we keep open communication, we'll be sure to update the directory as needed.
Do you know if there's plans that we are planning to put this as a link at all on our web pages? Have you heard of that?
That's something that we requested, and so I'll just need to follow up that it is included.
I'll request it as well. I'll bring it up. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, you are a terrific addition, and I want to let the board know, the Washoe County Board of Commissioners just appointed you to the Regional Parks and Open Space Commission as well. So we have a rock star that's connected to all of this, and I consider us very lucky.
She's going to be a star next month?
She's going to be a star next month, yes. She already is. Mr. Cutts?
Just to follow up, thank you, Chair Jung, for recognizing Stephanie's appointment to the commission, the Parks Commission. I was going to mention that. And just one final thing I wanted to mention, I wanted to thank Councilman Delgado. As you all know, for our clinical services, we serve people regardless of ability to pay. We do bill third-party payers, those that we are contracted with. The Affordable Care Act has made a big difference in the revenue and reimbursement that CCHS has experienced. And Councilman Delgado, in his role with Community Health Alliance, helped facilitate an agreement to get an enrollment assister here at the Health District for open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act that is November 1st through December 15th. And we were lucky enough to get Juana here. Actually, she started last week. So we're very excited because they look at people's financial picture if they have any qualifying life events that they may be able to apply for affordable care outside of the enrollment period. So thank you very much, Councilman Delgado, and we're appreciative of the partnership with Community Health Alliance. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Good work. Thank
Great,
you.
Thank you.
15C, Environmental Health Services. Mr. Weston, do you have anything to add to your report? Does anybody have any questions for environmental health? Thank you very much. Item 15D, Epidemiology and Public Health Preparedness. Dr. Todd.
Good afternoon, Randall Todd for the record. I just have a couple of updates from my previously submitted written report. Under communicable disease, we talked in there about 4 cases of carbapenemase producing E. coli. That's now 6 cases. And we do have an investigation that's going on. These are in a facility that is actually operated by the state of Nevada. So state epidemiology is primary on this investigation, but we are assisting. And also the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has sent a team out this week. They call it an EpiAid team. So we have 2 CDC physicians that are assisting with this investigation this week. The other thing, there was a list of unusual illnesses that I had reported in, the probable tularemia. And rubella, that they had ruled that out. And then measles case in an adult that was acquired and diagnosed in a foreign country. That was not contagious here. That was proven as a confirmed case, but the person was diagnosed in a foreign country. And then we had a suspected cluster of chickenpox in a household, and that was confirmed. And so those people are appropriately vaccinated and taken care of. The other thing I wanted to mention was the, and you've talked about it a little bit, but the point of dispensing at O'Brien Middle School. As was mentioned, we did that. We had a little over 200 people that we got vaccinated there. And then at about the same time, not the same day exactly, but we've had other pod partners that were also doing these exercises and resting. So these included Renown Regional Medical Center, Northern Nevada Adult Mental Health, the Reno Sparks Indian Colony, Pyramid Lake, Paiute Tribe, NV Energy, and the Community Health Alliance. So we've had a variety of different sizes and quite a few more people getting vaccinated against the flu in those situations. And then we have one more that's coming up in just a few days, and that's the 152nd Air National Guard. They're planning to do theirs in early November. And they had to wait that long because they hit a little glitch in getting their vaccine. So, so we seem to be off to a good start on the flu season this year, and we hope it stays that way.
That's great. Can you tell me what carbapenemase producing E. coli is?
Okay, well, carbapenem, we've talked about this on some other occasions, but it's probably kind of tough to remember. So carbapenem is an antibiotic. It's usually one that is a sort of a last resort. So it's often given in a hospital type of setting. And so if something is a carbapenemase producer, that means it's producing an enzyme that attacks that drug and renders it less effective. So there are a number of bacteria that are that can develop this capability, and so this was an E. coli. So there's lots of E. coli. In fact, we all have E. coli in our guts. That's a fairly normal occurrence. But having one that causes symptoms and one that is not able to be hit by certain antibiotics is more problematic. So we've been dealing with this for quite a while. We took the step here locally of asking our healthcare providers, specifically the hospitals, to go ahead and report this to us, even though it's not on the books under NRS and NAC 441A as a reportable disease. And they've been cooperating by doing the reports with us. There is a draft update to the regulations in 441A that the state is working on that would add some official reportability to these. And so that'll be coming up hopefully within the next few months.
So this was antibiotic resistance.
Yes.
And they were trying to treat Klebsiella pneumonia?
Well, Klebsiella pneumonia is a type of, you can have a carbapenemase producing E. coli that is related to that. One of the things that's interesting about these carbapenemase organisms is they can transfer that resistance to a completely different organism.
Oh.
So that's
serious.
Quite concerning.
Yes.
When you consider that they can do that.
And then one other question before I move to my vice chair. Tularemia?
Yes.
What's that?
Tularemia is just another disease that that's reportable.
Comes from rodents and stuff.
Oh, that's what
Yeah.
Mr. Scott had. So has that been, you said that has not been, it's probable but not confirmed?
Yeah, it's probable, but we were not able to get a laboratory confirmation of that, so it'll just stay as a probable case.
Okay. That's pretty serious.
Can be. This is something that comes up every now and again, although tularemia is also an organism that can be on the intentional transmission list, so terrorists can use that.
Okay. Can be weaponized.
But we don't believe this was a terrorist act.
Okay. Thank God. All right. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Todd, these carbapenemases, are these homegrown cases now, or are they coming in from the outside someplace, or do we know yet?
I'm not sure. I think that they are likely homegrown, but I don't have any way to know that for certain.
Okay.
Any other questions? Dr. Hess?
Yeah, on the influenza surveillance, if you're not going to be following the confirmed influenza cases by the cultures, I'm a little concerned. How many sentinel practices do you have?
We have 12.
Okay, so you're getting up to a reasonable sample.
And
Do you have anything with any of the ERs to report
yes. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but yes, we do.
Okay, good.
And I believe the last time I checked, the federal guidance for a community our size would have been to have had 2 sentinel providers.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
There's over 200
I'm not
doctors.
kidding, but that struck me as really way too few.
Yeah.
So we've had 12 for quite some time.
Okay.
And we generally get a pretty high percentage of those reporting to us each week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're doing well on the sentinels.
Good, okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilman Dare?
I had a question. I heard on the news the other day that there's a new medicine coming out for flu that is a pill that people take, and it's a similarity. Is that?
Yeah.
You
just take it once.
You just take it once.
Magic.
And now, what is this? What is this, and what does that mean for flu shots? What does that mean for these other things? It's coming out of Japan, I believe I heard.
Okay, if it's, because I read about one as well, and I think it's probably the same one, but I can't remember the name of it right now.
Me neither.
At any rate, we've had some medicines on the market for several years that are anti-influenza medicines, Tamiflu being one of those. And so still, the best way to prevent the flu is to get your flu shot every year. That is the absolute best way that we highly recommend. So if for some reason you can't or you didn't, then having some of these other medications will help, but you have to take them early on, so like within a day or two after you get sick, and they generally shorten the duration of your illness by about a day. So it's better than nothing, but I would still say that the primary prevention of influenza is our best approach, and then some of these secondary preventions or early interventions if you do get sick are they're certainly welcome. I'm glad we have those things, and I was pleased to see that they're adding a new one to the armament that we have. But that's certainly preventing it through the immunization process is most important, and then staying home when you're sick, covering when you cough, that sort of thing is very important and probably is more effective than even some of these drugs are.
The concern I had, and this might be something we need to pay attention to, I think my take from their radio ad, and you even said it, is that you take the pill and you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't get the flu anymore, is what I got a little bit from the ad I heard. And I'm just saying, I was, because that's why I was a little confused. I'm like, whoa.
It's not meant to be replacement for the vaccine.
No.
It is,
Right.
if you come down with it.
Now,
Then it's something, okay.
they have brought back the oral vaccine this year. You know, we spent a couple of years without that. And so I was, on the one hand, I was pleased to see it making a comeback because having been out at some of these points of dispensing, I can tell you the noise level from kids that don't like getting a hypodermic needle is pretty intense. And we didn't have the oral vaccine available at the pod that I was visiting. The problem with that is I don't believe it is quite as effective as the injectable vaccine. So if that's the only way you can get a vaccine on board, then sure, it's probably worth it. But my understanding is that the injectable vaccines are more effective than the
Thank you.
than the other ones.
Dr. Hess.
This magic new medicine isn't really all that magical. Like you say, it shortens the course by about a day and reduces the severity of symptoms, and it's thought to be ideal. The ideal use would be somebody old like me who didn't get his shot and comes down with the flu because I'm at increased risk of dying from the flu.
Right.
But I think it's over $200. It's not cheap.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I'd heard the same thing about the
Yeah.
price, although it sounds like there are some programs to get it down around $30 if you qualify for those.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Dr. Todd. Always a pleasure. Item 15E is the District Health Officer's report. Do you have anything to add, Mr. District Health Officer?
Yeah, just a quick update on our accreditation. We pushed the button and submitted our documentation after the last Board of Health meeting. And we did hear back from the Public Health Accreditation Board specialist that was doing the completeness review on our submission. And there are 17 of the 213 items that they've reopened, basically suggested that we've got additional documentation. Go ahead and submit some of those for these too. So we're working on that right now. And I also just wanted to take a moment to remind the board that we have our strategic planning retreat scheduled for next Thursday, November 1st. It's going to be in the Health District Auditorium, so where we used to do the board meetings over there off the lobby. We did get some new furniture in there, so I want to show that off for you a little bit. We'll have breakfast foods available at 8:30. So we'll have an informal breakfast mixer from 8:30 to 9. We'll get underway at 9 o'clock. We have Erica Olson with On Strategy that's going to help facilitate that meeting for us. We'll have a working lunch and we'll work through until 1 o'clock when we'll adjourn from the meeting. And so we'll let you loose for the rest of the afternoon, fully fueled and ready to go. So I hope everybody, I guess I've heard from Dr. Hess, he won't be able to attend, but I hope we, and I see that Mike Brown won't be able to either, but I'm looking forward to a good discussion with the board, and I believe that Ms. Rogers provided you with a packet for that meeting here today. So,
Thank you. Any questions for the, yes, Councilman Dare?
Is it possible to adjust your guys' calendar send out? Because right now on mine, it says from 8 to 5, and I can't change it, but I have other things that I'm putting, what you guys sent out, and I agreed to come. Can we just make sure we adjust that to the actual time? So I'll wake up that morning, I'll get here at 8 o'clock. That's how I function. I do it for my own sanity. But if we can adjust that and resend.
I got the same thing.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Placeholder.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I do want to commend our staff very much for all the work on the FAB accreditation. It is a monumental pile of work for everybody concerned, and I was thrilled to find out we only got 17 documents reopened, some of which were just strictly clarification. Doesn't look like a whole lot of big stuff that we have to go back and reinvent the wheel. So I really want to commend the whole staff, because I know everybody in this building was touched someplace with doing it. And so please convey that.
And we need, as a board, to also acknowledge that were it not for Vice Chairman Dr. Novak, we wouldn't have pursued this. He was the champion for this, and he goes to all of these meetings for us in Indiana in August. Anything else we want to say at this point? No? All right, and let's move to item 16, which is board comment. I'll start down here. Any board comments, requests for further information, agenda items? I have, in response to Mr. Pitkin, because we really can't speak during public comment, I would like staff to give me a briefing on what we are doing for HIV prevention and how it is not parallel to the plan that is done in Clark County, and how we can make that more parallel, because people travel between both places quite a bit and move between those places, and to be looking at prevention rather than medication. So those are some of the issues that Mr. Pitkin has brought to me, and I need to be educated in that issue.
All right, we'll get that scheduled.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, is there public comment? Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.